You're listening to Do This First, a daily personal development podcast that focuses on science-backed, actionable steps towards your best year ever. Hi, I'm Santa, your host. It is officially 81 days till the end of 2024. Are you going to finish strong? I'm rooting for you. Today, we're talking about greed. It is a term often associated with negative connotations, particularly in the business sphere, where competitive spirit and ambition flourishes. However, it's essential to differentiate between healthy ambition and detrimental greed. When unchecked, greed can corrode, and not just individual careers, but entire organizations, leading to unethical behavior, loss of reputation, and even legal repercussions. For entrepreneurs, for business owners, for executives and leaders, understanding the nuances of greed and finding ways to manage these tendencies is critical. Understanding greed. People are greedy for a variety of reasons. Societal pressures, personal insecurities, the fear of financial loss, or even the thrill of accumulating wealth. The psychology behind greed often stems from a fundamental desire for security and validation. We find ourselves in high-stakes environments where success is measured by tangible assets. Greed can flourish unchecked, which is very dangerous. Case studies. Downfall of the greedy. So many examples, but one that really comes to mind is Bernie Madoff, whose fraudulent investment schemes epitomize how greed can lead to ruin. Madoff's insatiable thirst for wealth not only cost him his freedom, but also devastated countless investors' lives and eroded trust in the financial systems. His story truly underscores the paradox of greed. It promises wealth, but often leads to downfall. Similarly, think about Wall Street's excesses leading up to the 2008 financial crises. The subprime mortgage crises. I'm sure many remember that. It really highlighted how corporate greed can poison markets. Major financial institutions pursued short-term profits without considering long-term consequences, contributing to a global economic meltdown. These examples highlight that greed can manifest as ethical lapses and reckless decisions with far-reaching, catastrophic impacts. There is some science behind greed, believe it or not. From a physiological or psychological perspective, greed is often linked to the brain's reward system, dopamine, the neurotransmitter associated with pleasure and reward. It's released during scenarios that produce feelings of gain. However, when the pursuit of wealth and possessions becomes obsessive, it can create a cycle where the gratification becomes fleeting. The brain becomes wired to seek more gains to maintain the same levels of satisfaction. Kind of like a junkie chasing the first high. Never quite is the same as the first. It leads to an insatiable cycle of greed. Research suggests that materialism is often correlated with psychological distress. Higher levels of greed link to lower levels of happiness. You can never get enough because more is never enough. It's the hamster on the wheel paradox. The physiological response highlights that the fleeting dopamine rush from acquiring wealth or status is ultimately unsustainable. and it leads some to chase more without finding fulfillment, happiness, and inner peace. There are ways to manage greed. As leaders, you can start by assessing your relationship with wealth and success. Are you driven by ambition or greed? Consider asking yourself, what motivates my ambitions? Is it security, validation, or joy? How do I measure success? Is it through material riches or something broader? Are my decisions guided by principles and values, or do they primarily seek personal gain? Shifting our focus from merely amassing wealth to creating value is a total mindset upgrade that will help you stay focused on what truly matters. Instead of setting goals centered exclusively around profit, incorporate objectives that benefit others, like your employees, your customers, and maybe even the community. This broader perspective encourages sustainable growth and mitigates the obsession with personal gain. Lead on principles by being transparent, create checks and balances, and promote values such as integrity, fairness, and social responsibility within yourself and within others that work with you or for you. Celebrate other people's successes too, not just your own. Reward your team's accomplishments. Unfortunately, a mindset shift is just not enough if you are constantly swimming with the sharks. Proactively building a network of like-minded people who share similar values like you can create an impactful seismic shift. Engaging with others who prioritize ethical standards over doing anything to make a profit can help reinforce your own emerging positive habits and hold you and others accountable. Another positive step forward is to engage in continuous learning about leadership, ethics, and social responsibility. Being the change you want to see is an overused cliche, but it is true. Never doubt the impact one person can have on others. That's how all movements are started, by the power of one. There is nothing wrong with ambition and success. However, greed clouds your judgment. When a person is overtaken by greed, they throw out the playbook. Anything goes, believing that the ends justify the means, and they never do. Greed is corrosive and can harden a person to the point where they are callous, devoid of ethics, empathy, and goodwill towards others. What's in it for me is the mindset. While capitalism thrives on ambition, it's vital to recognize that fulfillment rarely stems from just mere possessions. Greed may offer temporary gains, but often leads to destruction. Recognizing and managing the damaging repercussions of greed can actually pave the way for more meaningful success. Greed can destroy you and thwart long-term success. Don't cut corners by doing things you'll regret later. Always act with integrity, as sustainable growth and success hinges on your leadership. Look at the news. Just today I was reading how a former Samsung executive was just arrested for stealing $3 billion worth of technology from the company. And Safe's former executive director was arrested for allegedly misusing over $700,000 in public funds. They were charged with 34 felonies. By the way, Safe is a 48-year-old nonprofit with a sterling reputation until now. Their entire aim in existence is at enhancing safety and crime prevention. Ethical leadership has never been needed more desperately than now. Be that person and fend off greed with principled ambition. By transforming the misplaced energy from greed into a drive for ethical leadership and personal growth, you can carve out sustainable paths that benefit not only you, but also everyone around you. Be that person. The world needs you. If you like what you're hearing, don't forget to leave a review. You can also read a transcript of this podcast episode and all of my podcast episodes on my blog, dothisfirst.life. And while you're there, sign up for my weekly newsletter, which unpacks all the emerging and cutting edge research on the neurosciences, personal and professional development, and brain health. You can also listen to all of my podcast episodes on my blog. And that web address, once again, is dothisfirst.life. You can also listen to my podcast episodes on YouTube, and my handle there is @dothisfirst. Tomorrow we'll continue with our micro year-end series, Finish Strong. Till tomorrow.